sis, why don't we get started? Go ahead.
All right. So, welcome everyone. This is the first of a series of business meetings that we're going to be hosting. So, in a little while, I'm going to actually put in the chat and the one for next week, a week from now, as well as our upcoming intro to oils. And we'll be continuing with other classes as well. So feel free to join, feel free not to. It's all good, however you feel about that. But tonight is really about, sharing our experiences, sharing what Young Living means to us, what the business side of Young Living means to us, what our journeys have been, because we're real people, right? We're all just like each other. We have a goal and we're working towards it. And life is life. Sometimes, things go as planned. Sometimes they don't. But guess what? Put one foot in front of the other and continue on. And Young Living is an amazing, amazing business opportunity. So excited to be here with you guys tonight. And I'll get into my story in a little bit. But before that, Nate, big brother.
Yes.
So nice to meet you.
So I love doing this with my sis. And those of you that didn't know for sure, Heather is my little sister. I'm the big brother. And she introduced me to Young Living over 7 years ago now. And at the time, she was living in Minnesota. I was living in San Diego, California. And a lot has changed since then. I don't know how many people you have exactly on your team, but you can share that when it's your turn. But she now lives back in the Cayman Islands, and I'm back in Minnesota. So geographically, things have changed, and our businesses have grown in the process. But we're going to share a little bit about that tonight. But what we really want this to be is we've got 8 of us that are going to kind of share 4 or 5 minutes, just our story of what the business means to us. And I thought it would be great for people to be able to just hear different people, because the business means something different to all of us. And it would be good to hear from other people, because you might relate or connect with someone that you've maybe never heard before, and maybe something will click. So that's kind of what we're hoping tonight. So Valerie, Bismarck, North Dakota, you want to kick it off for us, please?
I can, Nate. Okay. Hi, everyone. So yes, I'm Valerie Schuff. I live in Bismarck, North Dakota. I signed up with Young Living like 5 to 6 years ago through my best friend, who's more so in the Minneapolis area. And super proud that at this point, I can say that I have a team kicking it. We're making waves in good old North Dakota. And then I just absolutely love it when I have random members, because of the way we're all linked up, pop up from, I've got members in the Boston area, I have some members in Alaska. Like, it's just really cool. It's really, really cool. But so I'm going to say that my path, my journey with Young Living is kind of the sort, I want you to know that if I can do it, you can do that. And I think that's what you're going to hear in my story. So I am a silver leader, and I've had that status now. I've bounced between executive and silver for the last solid couple of years now. And so then that maybe begs the question, like, what were you doing for the first 2 or 3 years with your membership? And I do believe that it took me personally some time to just sink my teeth into, what is this product line all about? What is this company all about? And I got comfortable with it, and I wanted more and more and more. And I cannot help it. I am innately frugal, and I can see deals in my head. And so when I started to share, it absolutely positively was with the mindset of not someday being a silver leader or beyond, but I wanted the $48 back on the kit referrals, or I wanted someone to ask if I could get them thieves when I placed my next ER order. So it was kind of the small ball game, and I really enjoyed it. And it was casual, but I really enjoyed it. And then I think I got one of my epiphany kick in the butts when my sister-in-law, who's back in Minnesota and I'm in North Dakota, she got a kit, but through someone totally different. And it was a wake-up call that I hadn't been putting myself out there seriously. I was being casual, and I was simply saying, hey, if you want me to add on to my order, I can. Or, hey, if you ever want to talk to me about this, I'm open. But at no point had I told even my sister-in-law, I have goals and I want to go places with Young Living, and I'm growing a team, and therefore, if and when you ever think you're ready, please come to me and I would appreciate helping you and also having your support. And so I kind of had to get out of my own way in those first couple of years. And once I more seriously started to put on the business hat, it has helped a lot. Going to convention helped me a lot. Just some of that self-care, self-growth seemed to attract the right kind of growth to my team. And in fact, the number one secret sauce that I have going on right now for my team is that I recruited one of my team members to come on full bore with business goals. And so she has frankly even been a carrot for me. I have another gal on my team who is full on at this point with business goals, knowing again that someday she will be a Young Living Silver. And so just kind of slow but sure, my approach has been, it's been a little bit of a molasses approach, to be honest with you, but I've always been consistent. I follow through, I look for the win-wins. I am good with people and I'm not shy, and I believe in using my voice. And so that means letting people know about sales or tagging them when something is back in stock or whatever it may be. And then developing to do more and more and more to take care of the team that I really am in love with at this point. And so now, just to wrap this up, I have found so much purpose with Young Living in the last several years, and that it's only ramping up. But my baby, my little girl is going to go to kindergarten here soon. And you know that question that a lot of stay-at-home moms have to deal with of like, oh, you've been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. What are you going to do now? For me, it's Young Living. I am so excited that I've been able to build this into my life where I have some real money and some real purpose going on. And so it's going to be an easy transition on that front. So I think I'll leave it at that, but I'm definitely open to questions.
Awesome, awesome. I think what we'll do at the end is open it up, and I mean, if anybody has anything right now, feel free, but at the end, we'll definitely open up for questions. Valerie, is Heather K on? I don't see her. Heather K?
I don't see her either.
Okay. All right. No problem. We will move on. Thank you so much, Valerie. That was awesome. And everybody's journey is different, but everybody's journey is awesome and amazing. So right now, I'm just going to quickly share my screen, because we're talking about the Young Living business. Oh, and that slide is not centered, but anyway, so you can see the Young Living income disclosure statement. So anytime that we're talking business, we're supposed to let you know, let you see this, and you can see 89.6% of people in Young Living are just distributors using the products, and that's okay. There's, you know, that's their choice. Totally fine. If you're looking for the Young Living business and you're reaching executive, you're in the top 0.8% of Young Living. And then it goes down from there, 0.3% for silver, 0.1% for gold, and then above is even less. But you guys, look at the income that you have the potential to make It is absolutely mind-blowing and amazing. What I'll do is I will put this into the chat so that you can download it for yourself, right? Because clearly that did not stay open wide enough for you to see it well. But you can download it, have it for yourself, and take a look at that. I'm a Young Living Gold member, and it's a really lovely paycheck at the end of every month, or in 18th of every month. So I'll get into that more in a little bit, but there's your income disclosure statement. And now we'll ask Adanza to come up and chat. And she is one of my leaders in the Cayman Islands with me. So she has a pretty awesome story as well.
Thank you so much, Heather, for inviting me to talk. Can you all hear me?
Think so. Good to go.
Good. Heather has been doing this in Cayman, sharing almost like it wasn't really going to happen. People here are a lot more conservative and, oh, these essential oils, you know, we're not too sure about this. And when I tried it myself, I fell in love with the products. They were amazing for me. I was able to help my family, help them to get well. And so I started to share, feeling more confident. And it was very natural. I just loved helping people. And then I started to learn from Marcella and different people in the leadership that you just need to love people, love having a relationship with them. And one of the things that blessed me the most was having people come to me for advice, and I be able to point them to things, and they realize that I didn't just want to have them coming to me all the time. I wanted to empower them to be able to help themselves in those times where maybe they couldn't reach me. And people started to come because they realized that we were consistent. We were consistently caring enough to share. And as we did meetings in the Harquail, or it was very expensive, but you have to ask yourself, why are you doing Young Living? Do you love helping people? Do you love sharing? Is this something that you are only doing just to get that $50 back, as some people will only want to do it, or do you want to really help people? So every single person is different. Everybody will react differently to the oils. So we have to be careful to always be using our disclaimers, making sure people know that we're not diagnosing them or being compliant. Once we're doing that, we're on the safe side. Once you're not just applying oils just to any and everybody, we are going to have that safety net. But if we're going out there and we're sharing oils that could cause somebody to have palpitations, you have to know how to deal with those situations as well. And we'll have people who they'll get upset if they feel a little tingle in their skin. How can you do this? You can't just, so you have to know why you're doing it. You have to genuinely care about people and do your follow-ups. If somebody got an oil from you and it was for something that they were trying to get sorted out, follow up with them. Care enough. And it's not just about sharing with them, it's about helping them to be able to help others. So a lot of people, they're takers. They'll just give me, give me, give me free. They'll want everything free. And you will have a lot of those people. But once you focus on helping people who love to help people and spend a lot of your time in that area, you will find that your business will grow. You will find
Okay, well, in the Cayman Islands, we also have a lot of internet issues, so forgive us. In the middle of a class the other day, same kind of thing happened. It just all of a sudden, boop, gone. So actually, it's my turn to talk. And just so you know, yes, there's definitely, you know, things like absolutely, how much do you care? How much do you want to help people? Yes. But you take that and you go with that, and you, no matter what the struggle is, no matter what the slight small hill is, you keep working, right? So for me, I started the same way as Adanza. I was a product lover only, but honestly, within about a week, that was it. I had already seen so many things, positive things using these products, that I immediately started to share. And it was that I was caring. And so I'm sharing with you because I care about you. And for me, it was so easy to share because there were so many positives so fast. And I really fell into the business side of Young Living. It was simply sharing with others, caring enough to help them with, and listen, right? That's key, you guys. You have to listen and really help them fulfill their needs. Once you do that, once you build that relationship with them, you guys are gonna fly. And look at how many leaders we have on here talking this evening. That's amazing. You guys are doing amazing things. And for me, reaching gold and staying at gold, now I have another goal in mind. I'm close to platinum. So let's move, let's go. You know, have those meetings, get together, support each other, share with each other, love on each other. And you guys are gonna absolutely fly with this business because it's amazing. So I'm going to actually call up Allison. I'll share more at the end if I need to, but it's your night. Let's hear from you. Allison is also on my team in the Cayman Islands, and she is very close to silver rank. So she has an amazing business story as well.
Hi all, my name is Allison. I live in the Cayman Islands, and I've known Heather since high school. We went to high school together. Basically, I fell in love with Young Living because I was actually diagnosed with cancer, and I decided to join it for a health journey. And through that, my passion comes mostly because of the difference it has done in my life, in my health, for me, for my family, and for my friends. I did the business a year after. So I started Young Living in 2016, but in 2017, I got into the business side with a really close friend of mine also that is currently on, Monica. And we went for it and we got executive, I think in a year, because basically, I'm a full-time mom, but I also work full-time. So whenever I found the time that I can after our 9-to-5 jobs, every night I would go to every single house I can think of. All my Walmart, I killed it. After that, I kind of had some issue with our company. So I took like a year off. And since the lockdown, it actually motivated me. I know I'm going all the way for silver now. So I hit back into executive in May, I think. Yeah, in May I did, and I'm hoping by tomorrow night at midnight, I hit the silver rank with Silver Bound. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you. But yeah, my story is really short. I just really wanted to, difference for my health, and my passion came with it because I saw what it did for me. And I just wanted to be a difference for everyone else that I know or I would like to get to know. So, so yeah, like go for it. And life will happen and the struggle will happen, but don't let it stop you. So that's my story.
Awesome. Thanks, Allison. So next, I'm going to have somebody that already spoke introduce the next person. So Valerie, you're up to introduce.
All right, everyone. So my neighbor is on my team, Megan, and Megan Milbrat is our next speaker. But we went from being next door neighbors to friends who talk about 3 times a day maybe at this juncture, because she jumped in with wanting to do the business side, which I'll let her tell you about. But she has opened my eyes personally, like mega wide. And the difference that this gal is making, we're talking with hundreds of families now, is my inspiration too. And we are getting those testimonials in return where when I say I have purpose, so much of it is coming from our team, and a giant chunk of that is Megan's team, and that's who you get to hear from next.
Thanks, Val. Okay, so yeah, as Valerie said, I'm her backyard neighbor. We share backyards, and I got started with Young Living, I think around the same time as Valerie did. However, we weren't neighbors. Well, I think we were neighbors at the time, but we weren't, I wasn't her enrollee or anything at the time. My account actually went inactive, maybe thanks to Valerie, because I was a lazy Young Living member who I knew Valerie had thieves and different things at her house. And so whenever I need something, I just go get it across the fence in the backyard rather than ordering from my own account. And so I actually went inactive. And so lucky for me, Valerie talked me into re-enrolling, reactivating my account with her, and so here we are today. But it wasn't until about almost exactly 2 years ago, there were so many things going on in my life at the time that kind of led me to being here tonight. And it was kind of just the perfect storm for me. One, my family was going through some health challenges, and it was causing me to want to really take a Sorry, did I mute myself? Anyways, back up. So we were going through some health challenges, and that caused me to just want to try to control something in my life. And I was doing all these things to learn more about what we were exposing ourselves to. So I jumped on Essential Rewards for my very first time. I had been a member for several years, but never jumped into Essential Rewards. So I did that. And then right about that time as well, I was feeling in my mama heart some struggles with seeing my kids grow up before my eyes, and feeling like we just never had enough time together as a family. My husband was working shift work, and there was just all these things that I just felt like this huge desire, like I just wish that we could slow our lives down and be home together more. And then on top of that as well, I started following somebody on Instagram who was an RCD. I had known her previously in the photography world because I had a photography business for years, and kind of reconnected. And I had no idea that she was an RCD with Young Living. I remembered when she got started with oils, when we kind of dropped off and lost contact. And then to see her, like, then all of a sudden when all these other things were happening for me, she shared the income disclosure statement one day on her Instagram story, and I was like, what? Like, what? Young Living? Are you serious? Like, I had no idea. And I honestly think all of these things, like essential rewards and the income disclosure and all that stuff, of course, I think I had seen those and heard those things before, but it's one of those things where until you're ready to listen, you just don't, right? You just kind of tone it out. And so that perfect storm of everything kind of lit a fire under me to just learn more about this business, because I saw what it was doing in her life and all the time freedom that she had with her family. She had her husband home, all these things. And those were things that I wanted for myself in that moment. And so that night that I saw that income disclosure statement, I literally went on YouTube, and for 3 hours, or it was actually till like 3 in the morning, I was up on YouTube just searching Young Living business and listening to all these different leaders talk about the business, talk about their experiences, talk about how they were doing it, literally listening to stuff about the comp plan, everything that I could absorb. I was doing that. And it was a really busy time for me. It was the middle of summer and we had vacations and things going on. And so I didn't do anything about it, but I thought, you know, these next 3 weeks are really busy. I'm just going to use whatever time I have to learn everything that I can about the business. And then I'm going to decide, like, is this something I can do? So I ordered the game plan book right away. I heard about that, read that in the car on our family vacation. And from there, after about 3 weeks of just learning and praying about it, I decided, I think I can do this. And it was terrible timing for me. I mentioned before, my husband was working shift work. So I was like, it was like on me most of the time with my kids. They were both in sports. School had just started. I mentioned I had a photography business. Fall is like the busiest time. I already had a packed schedule, but just the desire and everything that I was learning about Young Living and about residual income, it was such a draw for me that I did everything that I could. I spent every spare minute that I could to try to start this business. And I think, I don't even remember, I think I enrolled my first person at the end of July, and by September I had made it to executive. And so that was like, obviously that success in the beginning was really exciting for me and really kept me motivated, I think, through that the challenging times, because I was so busy otherwise. And so, you guys, I can talk forever about this. I'm so sorry. But so from there to where I am today, when I started this, I really saw it as a way for me to find a source of residual income for my family, which would hopefully then lead to the time freedom that I was desiring in that moment. And since I've started this, I very much have found just so many other blessings come from it aside from those things. I don't think that I'm there yet as far as what my ultimate goals are in all that freedom that I'm looking for, but the things that I've gained along the way have just kept me motivated, kept me going, and I'm just like unbelievably grateful for them. Things that I did not expect to gain from this, I appreciate so much. And the biggest thing with that is the relationships that I've formed and the community that we have within this and the purpose that's found in helping others. I wasn't, when I started sharing and started helping other people get started with Young Living, I was not expecting like to be hearing life-changing stories from them. I don't know why that never crossed my mind. But when I started hearing these things, it makes me cry like all the time because I'm just so grateful for that. And to know that that can be like a result of something that I'm doing also to help myself, help my family, and better myself. It's just all around such a good thing in my life. And so I'm so grateful. I just want to say one thing, like for people, if people who are not doing this business end up watching this, what I would like them to know is that I see so many people hesitate in starting this business because they're worried about what people are going to think, or they're worried about not having it all together and knowing all the things before they get started. And to that, I just want to say, like, do not wait. Just, if you have to stay up till 3 in.the.morning watching YouTube to get you confident enough to just share that you love Young Living with your Facebook friends or whatever, do that, and then do the next thing. Do not wait until you have it all figured out, because you never will. The other thing I see people like so hesitant about sometimes is selling things to their friends and family. And for me, I have always looked at it as in this way. Yes, if somebody enrolls in Young Living and joins my team, they are benefiting me financially in some way, right? And I'm appreciative of that. Always be grateful for that. But I ask myself, what can I give them back in return? If they want to get started with oils, if they want their lives to be changed by these products and these oils, they're going to have to buy something. Like, that's just how it works, right? But what am I going to give back to them in return for what they're giving me and trusting me and signing up with me? And for me, that is being able to support them and educate them and basically support them tenfold. That's the way that I look at it. And so I know so many people hesitate because they don't want people to think that they're just trying to sell their friends something. To me, the way I look at it is what we can give back to them is so much greater than what we gain from the sales that we make in our organization or in our business. And I just think that having that mindset has really helped me to keep going and knowing that we are helping so many people in this. So yeah, that was kind of all over the place, but.
It was wonderful. Thank you so much. That was really awesome. And Denise, Nate, do you want to introduce Denise? Denise is one of our leaders in Colorado, and she has a pretty amazing story as well and an awesome team. So we would love to hear from Denise.
I do have an awesome team. I think we all probably feel that way, but I'm sorry, I do have the best team. It's a funny story kind of at the beginning. I was in a car accident in 2010, and my health had gotten so bad, and I was on so much medication, and my son and his then fiance were going to a marriage counselor, and they went to an oil party through the marriage counselor. And I honestly thought they were talking about olive oil, like flavored olive oil. Like, I didn't even know they had essential oil parties. So, and so then whenever he came home and was telling me about like different things, I was like having to wrap my brain around, like, what are you talking about? And I had tried essential oils before, and they didn't work, you know, and I was very health oriented, you know, but I didn't know that there was a difference in oils, obviously. And then my son just kept telling me that I needed to use them, and I just kept telling him no. And then about a month after, my husband lost his job, and I cleaned the office for where he worked, and so we both were without employment. And so then Derek's like, you know, you should really talk with Nate about the business side of Young Living. And I'm like, heck no, I'm never doing network marketing ever again. I've done that. It's disappointing. I'm gonna go let my dog out. He'll just sit there and bark the whole time. Go, go, go. It's just like kids, when you get a phone call or whatever, they start acting up, right? And so after about a month or a couple of weeks to a month, yeah, about a month, you know, we had been applying and nothing. And, you know, you start getting nervous, like, bills to pay, you know, how am I going to pay my bills if I don't have income coming in? And so we're praying, and my husband says, well, you know, maybe God's answering our prayer through this Young Living thing. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So we just kept praying, and no job opportunities. And so here I am, you know, 5.5 years later. It is what I do full time. It is what brought him home from work. He has since gone back and gotten like a part-time job that's turned into a full-time job. That's a whole nother story, but it covers all of our bills. You know, we love Young Living's products. I've become a huge believer in them. I was able to get off all my medications. It's been, you know, when they say abundance, wellness, and purpose, they really mean that. And I didn't really realize my kids had, I homeschooled my kids, and they were swimmers and athletes. And you know how, you know, when you have kids that are athletic and they're constantly participating in all those functions, and all of that came to an end right about this same time. And so I was at home, you know, pretty much all of my friend sources had ended. I didn't, you know, my kids weren't doing any school functions. We actually left our church, and we were thinking about moving to Arizona. And I was just kind of at home. I just really wasn't doing much. So it gave me huge purpose. I've developed friendships that that are better friends than I've ever had in my whole life through Young Living. But you know, we hit the road running because we did need to pay bills. And so and Nate, I didn't even know Nate. I didn't even know Heather. I knew no one. And so how we did it was we just logged into Skype at the time, and we plugged it into my TV, and I invited people over on Tuesday night and Saturday afternoon. And we did that. I don't know, Nate's gone, I don't see him anymore, but I think we did that for like 2-3 months until I got to where like I only had one person coming, and then we just kind of just did Skype on my couch, you know, with them sitting next to me, and you know, at his house. And then I really did, I mean, I hit silver quick, but it's been a very slow road to gold. And partly because we just couldn't find people who wanted to, we couldn't catch the vision. And so, but, you know, it would have been very easy to quit, but we didn't. And I know a lot of my team members have come up against a lot of, you know, where things ran quick, stopped also. So I find it ironic that God would put me through that so that I could have a heart of compassion, because, you know, you can kind of get like, you know, things whenever people can't seem to do something that you can do, it's like, what's the problem? But I've never felt that way, because I feel like, I know, like it's hard whenever you put in hours and hours of something and you just don't yield in what you have put into it. But yet you see that come in later. You know, like I'm not a social media person at all, and I've really, really worked hard at that. And someone from Switzerland, my husband can attest, I was like running around the house pretty excited. I was like, woohoo, you know. But, you know, so you just don't know where all of it's going to take you. I'm about 20 people away from gold now. And it's funny because my 3 legs were really strong at one point, and then that one leg just kind of dropped off, but now my OGV is up exactly where it should be, and that leg is really low. So I'm about 20 people short in that leg. But, you know, I just figure, what other choice do I have at this point? You know, like, nothing is going to bring in the kind of money I'm bringing in. And if it takes me, you know, another 2 years to get to gold, it really has allowed me to, I've had to get like to a mental place about 2 years ago where if I didn't hit gold, it was okay. And then it just kind of turned my focus on my team. And now we do weekly, we actually do bi-week, we do a Zoom on Friday morning, and then we do one on Tuesday evening, so that it gives more opportunity for our team to attend. But it's just freed me up to be able to get to them and to kind of, it's been awesome, like more of an intimate leadership group. And so I've just been so joyful over watching them grow and them. I mean, it just sit back. My social media is full of like their amazing stuff, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're so inspirational to me. And, you know, I would have loved gotten a gold a long time ago, but that just wasn't part of the plan. So, I guess I just say that because sometimes we really think we're going to hit something. It doesn't happen. And it's so discouraging. It's so disappointing. But if I just have to look at other things that really are going well and mindset where it should be. I'm trying to think, you know, started out, you know, more focused on, you know, finances, then turned into more like healing for me, then turned into, you know, like I said, purpose. But, you know, that purpose is just like when you have someone that comes to you and says, you know, you saved my daughter, you know, it's like, how did I do that? And then they tell you these oils and they tell you this story and you're like, whoa, you know, like you can't beat that. I mean, that is a huge reason to do this Young Living business. We all know someone who has a need. I know Brenda Schuler talks about that a lot. She talks about, you know, finding someone with a need, and everybody has a need. And if someone tells you that they don't, then you need to do like, I can't remember who said, just listen. You need to really be able to sit down and have a conversation and find out what their need is just by being a friend. And you'll figure out what their need is. And maybe you don't tell them it right away, you know, but to be just watching that and being, you know, when they say it's a relationship business, it really truly is. So I think that's pretty much it. But I do have a lot of I'm just super proud of you guys for showing up. That makes me super happy. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Denise. I'm back. I heard most of that. I really wanted to introduce you, of course, and real life, my internet went out as well. Who knows why? Even in Minnesota, that happens. So Denise, what I was just gonna say was, you know, I had a great time. Like she said, she didn't know me or Heather to start. And, I was just doing some classes in Orange County, and I met her son. And before you knew it, I'm talking to Denise on the phone over in Colorado, and here we are, new relationship.
Grilled you. That phone was what, like a 2-hour phone call? My husband had every question in the world. I'm like, so embarrassed. He's like, so tell me about Royal Crown Diamond. I remember Nate saying, I don't think I've ever had anyone want to go that far into the comp plan before, but here, that would be my husband.
Yeah. So awesome. Yep. Thank you very much, Denise, for sharing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, admittedly, Nate has always been the business-minded person. From we were young up, all growing up until adulthood, he has been the business-minded person. So where I'm all product and love ya, he's got that and the business mind. And so I'm like so thankful that we're in this together. He has a serious presence and a serious knowledge of what's happening and what's going on. And yeah, let's hear from him.
All right. Well, thank you, sister. You know, I'm going to try to keep this short. There'll be plenty of times to share some more, but I remember, again, being in San Diego. My sister was in Minnesota, and she was calling me and telling me about these oils and how they're helping her and my nephew. And I didn't know anything about essential oils. And I just remember thinking, what, car oil, olive oil, coconut oil? I mean, what are you talking about? Like, I had no clue. And, you know, a little background on me, I've been in the health and fitness industry for over 23 years now. I've been a personal trainer, health coach. I've owned my own gyms. I've got a teaching degree, Health and Fayed. I've been a coach. So I've just, you know, done a lot of things. And about 12 years ago, my wife and I started to get more into natural health and, you know, things like that, but still knew nothing about essential oils. So it was quite the learning experience with my sister calling me and telling me about my nephew Elias and how much healthier he was getting. Well, and it's not that I am not into the products. So I latched on really quick, and you know, I've told this story 100 times, but peppermint was the first oil I ever used. And I tell you what, when something works right when you use it, you're pretty blown away. Because my whole life as a personal trainer, I've been approached and bombarded by everybody and anybody saying to sell this product, peddle this, peddle that. It's the next greatest thing. And you know, what's really neat about network marketing is there are a lot of good products in the network marketing industry, because it's a way to get a product out there that requires relationship, requires teaching and education. And that's things I love. I love relationships, and I love team building, and I love educating people and helping people. So, but with that said, you know, I had done some other network marketing companies over the years. And I remember I was first introduced to network marketing when I was 16 years old. I don't know if Heather really remembers this, but our cousin came over from Duluth, drove 3 hours, and I got to sit in the living room with my parents, and they had like 2 people in the room. And my cousin puts up and I loved my cousin. He's older than me. I admired him. I thought he was the greatest thing ever, right? And so he puts up this big whiteboard, gets out his marker, and I'm sure most of you can kind of guess where this is going. But he draws that first circle, and he puts you in there. And I'm like, what's going on here? And he drew those circles underneath, and he just started to draw out Amway. And I'm like, I want to do this. This totally makes sense to me. So when I was 16, I saw a network marketing presentation for the first time. And long story short, my parents obviously didn't do too much with that. But I got to kind of sit the heels of my cousin and learn. I didn't get into Amway till I was actually 34 years old, when I owned a couple gyms in the Twin Cities. And I only did Amway for about a year, but the educational experience from the business side was phenomenal. I learned so much. The business mindset and everything that they had just really helped me. You know, the idea of personal growth and growing as a person and being able to help people become better people was really exciting to me. So I got that from there. All the other network marketing companies I did, I never really made much money. I might have gotten a few people started. But you know, here's the thing. When Young Living came along for my sister, I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking for a business. I wasn't looking for a product. I was personal training. But when a product works and works that quickly, and you start to see stories and hear stories of how people get impacted, it clicked immediately for me. It was like, okay, you're not looking, but here you go. If you don't do this, you're an idiot, basically. And so I did it. I jumped in, I bought my kit. And you know, it was pretty easy at first. As a personal trainer, people listened to me. They wanted to know what I thought about health products. And so I did it all wrong the first, you know, year and a half. I was really good at selling kits, but I wasn't really good at the follow-up and getting people to order more often. So I was one of those master recruiters in the beginning. It's like, wow, how many people have you enrolled? Like 30, 40, but whoop-de-doo, you know, how many of them are still ordering every month? So I learned the hard way in the beginning that, you know, stop being such an expert. And so once I stopped being an expert and I became more coachable and teachable myself, I was able to just really start helping more people delve into it and get into the products. And once I realized that I could help people change their lives with life-changing products, people just simply wanted to keep using them, which meant they wanted to order again. And that is one of the greatest things I've seen with Young Living is people want to keep ordering products. And so, you know, as you guys all know, we have this auto ship program called Essential Rewards. And I mean, it's the most amazing, you know, buying program I've ever seen in my life, the way they reward us. And, you know, that's the kicker. Like, other companies don't have a 35% auto ship retention program. You know what I mean? Like, when I was in Amway, it was maybe 3 to 5% retention every month. So, I mean, you have to constantly be recruiting new people. And so this was the kind of thing where it's like, oh, if I actually help people get healthier, like, they're going to keep ordering. So it was really neat. That was a great revelation for me. And then it just kind of grew from there. You know, doing the business for me, I understood the numbers, I understood the circles, and this has never been a business where I really do much for circles. You know, this is literally just, you know, one person at a time or a class at a time, whether it be in person or whether it be Skype, like I, you know, did with Denise for a little while. Just really building the relationship, and, you know, person, class at a time, and before you know it, you've got teams growing, and it just grew. And so I have been a silver now for, I've lost track. I've been a silver for a long time. You know, and I've had things come up in my life where we've moved from California back to Minnesota. We've had times where life has happened, and I've worked 60, 70 hours a week, other jobs, just trying to kind of keep the family afloat. You know, and Young Living's had to take a back seat. But what's super cool is that the work that I put in, 3 or 4 different times, I've put in 60 days, 90 days, 6 months of hard work in Young Living, where I've really worked with people, built teams, and it is stuck. It hasn't gone away, and that's the residual income that I think we would all love to have. And so, you know, I'm blessed to have a team over 1,000 people, and, you know, I haven't done all that. It's teamwork. It's just the beauty of this business model, where if you just help a few people and build those relationships, it grows. It'll definitely grow. Obviously, there's little tricks to that along the way, and that's stuff that I want to kind of segue into as we kind of keep going with some classes for the business. But, you know, that's kind of my story. I've got double gold volume, but I'm not a gold yet. So I'm going to get there, though. Absolutely going to get there. We're all on this journey together, and I'm excited to, you know, re-engage personally and get another team going, and at the same time really be available to coach and mentor and teach, because deep down I love the mentor part, I love the teach part, the coach part, and so I want you guys to know that that's, you know, one of my passions and one of my giftings, and so I really want to help you in any way I can to do that. So I'm going to segue a little bit into what's coming. And next week, Heather, what did you title the class for next week? Go ahead.
All right, so both of the classes for next week, well, there's going to be a Saturday one as well. That's summer fun, but you can find that on Facebook. The business class next week, a week from today, is I'm ready to start a Young Living business, so where do I begin?
Right.
And so we're going to segue into we're going to look at the comp plan and, you know, some strategies to get started and do Q&A. You guys bring your questions, be ready to ask anything. Yeah, so that the link is already in the chat. You can grab them. Otherwise, I'm going to be posting them on Facebook as well. And the income disclosure statement is down in the chat as well. So
awesome. So that's all I wanted to do tonight. I really didn't want to get into, I really wanted this to be about everybody sharing their story and what the business means to them. And so to kind of close for me, what the business means to me is the company is top notch. It's amazing. It's the best company I've ever seen. The product line, as I've said, is the best ever. And you get the opportunity to help people and build relationships, and that's why we were put on earth, to build relationships, have relationship. And oh, by the way, we get paid to help people and do that. And why not? There's nothing wrong with that. If you can provide a service or a product and help people, you should be fairly compensated. And so that's what's exciting about it. So it's just a win-win. The more people you get to help, the more you'll be compensated. So it's truly a blessing. So that's why I do it. And obviously the residual aspect of the income is something where if I can leave the jobs that I do and just do this at some point, that'd be wonderful. So that's where we're going. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is, if you have never seen this book, then you need to talk to the person that invited you, because you got to read this book before your career. Richard Bliss Brooke, The Young Living Edition. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm sure a lot of you have. but you should also read it more than once. You need to read it about 100 times to continue to learn more each time. So that's all I've got. Heather, go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, and for those of you in Cayman, I do have a few copies, so please feel free to reach out if you need it to read. You know, it's interesting. I forget it. I've been in Young Living for so many years that I tend to forget that people that aren't around me don't really know my testimony. And Nate, you know, started to say a little bit about my son. But I just really want you to understand when I say that it was life-changing for us, that I really started for the product. I really did. And my son, you know, and I think it's important that you see my heart, right? So my son had been diagnosed with, okay, let's be compliant. So he would be in situations, in social situations, and feel extremely nervous and things like that, or he'd be in school and maybe couldn't concentrate as well as he should have. And so he had just been diagnosed with 2 different things. And so we were looking for a natural solution. And along comes Young Living and a Zytoscan. And with literally, that's why I said within a week, we were seeing difference in all, like he was sleeping through the night and fidgeting less and things like that. So, you know, we can get into that another time if you want my full testimony, but please know that this is so near and dear to our hearts, and truly has been life-changing, and not just the products, the business side as well. Having a gold income is amazing. Having a silver income was amazing. So, and that residual income, it will work. I will be able to work myself out of my 40+ hour a week job. And you can too. We all can. Keep doing what you're doing, keep sharing, you know, let's form this community. Let's continue to get people on here. Let's, you know, continue with these business meetings so that everybody is equipped with the tools, maybe way better, hopefully better than, you know, maybe we were at the beginning. Because like I said, for me, the business side didn't come naturally. But we hope to help you all and your teams and those that want to really run with this with us. So please check the links in the chat and grab the income disclosure statement if you'd like. We are going to continue meetings, and yeah, so excited. And thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your stories. Like, truly amazing sitting here listening to you all talk, and you're amazing presenters, and just, it's so easy for you, and great job. I hope everybody has a good night.
So we're gonna call it official, just to keep good with time. But I'll hang on. I'm sure my sister will too. If anybody wants to ask some questions, you can feel free to stay on. But otherwise, we'll say meeting adjourned. Thanks for coming. Have a great evening.